What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Lex Alexis. Today it is the 5th episode of the transfer show. We've got just under a week now till the transfer window ends. We're starting to get a lot more signings now, a lot more rumours. It is going to be the exciting part of the transfer window. We've got some very exciting developments to talk about as well. If you guys like what you see, please do give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Please also hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. It does tremendously help the channel, and please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps the growth of the channel. But without any further ado, let's talk about the latest transfers and rumours. The biggest news story in terms of moving people is Hull City. They have sacked Grant McCann, which I think is a bit of a shock, but with the new ownership coming in, it's clear for them that they have got a big ambition. And Grant McCann, whilst he's done well to put Hull in 90th place, it was a decision and an appointment which Hull fans were a bit undecided whether they adored him or whether they didn't think he was a good fit. I think what this is going to open is something potentially incredible for Hull. They've got an incredible opportunity. This is what the new owner Akun Ilkali had to say about Grant McCann. Grant has done an excellent job for this football club in difficult circumstances, most specifically during the takeover process, and for that I offer my sincere thanks. These matters are never easy and are more often than not protracted. During the process, Grant has always remained professional and fully focused on the team, and will forever be a friend of the Tigers. I'm sure Grant will be successful in whatever his next challenge is. So a small thanks there, but it's clear to hear from the owner is that Grant McCann is not in his plans whatsoever. And another bit of recent news that we heard today from Hull is that the EFL loan repayment scheme has just been repaid. They've now no longer have transfer restrictions. We're seeing some restrictions, put teams for the worst, for instance Derby County and Reading, but Hull have had a complete turnaround in fortune there. They've struck lucky with this ownership, and now they've got no transfer restrictions. The opportunities are endless for Hull. Maybe not this year, but next year we could see Hull being a very competitive team. So now to the latest signings. The first transfer I want to talk about is Hannes Wolf. He has joined Swansea on loan from Borussia Mönchengladbach, and he has played a couple of games for Swansea already. For the way he dictates the midfield, the chances that he can create, I think he'll be a fantastic signing for this Swansea City side. I'm very excited to see how he develops. I think he's a really good fit into the system. Tommy Doyle has joined Cardiff on loan from Manchester City. That move doesn't really surprise me all that much. He was getting a lot of interest from League One and Championship clubs, and Cardiff are the team who've struck a little bit lucky getting him in. Ty Bagginson has left Bristol City to join Ipswich on loan. I think a good signing for Ipswich. I think whilst he's not getting many minutes at Bristol City, he's experienced enough centre midfielder, and Ipswich, all I worry about them is that I think still their squad is a little bit bloated in some areas, but with a new manager and they've picked up their form a little bit, maybe this will be a good signing for Ipswich. John Deddy Badvarzen has officially joined Bolton. This was a rumour we talked about last week, and it has been confirmed, and the fee is undisclosed. I think once again, very experienced, especially in the Championship, so to help a League One team like Bolton, he'll be a great signing, and he was featured in Bolton's win in the weekend too, so he's already making a terrific impact to Bolton. Jayden Bidace has joined Stoke on loan from Aston Villa. Don't know a lot about him, however, I noticed that when Stoke were really struggling to break Fulham down in the second half, he made an incredible opportunity and was actually dribbling past some players. It was absolutely unbelievable. I think he made his appearance in around the 70th odd minute when Stoke were chasing the game from Fulham. But for what I saw, he looks a really, really good player with a lot of potential. So I'm really excited to see how he thrives with Stoke. Oliver Burke has officially joined Millwall from Sheffield United. This deal doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. He really, was average at best for Sheffield United. Wasn't really chipping in the goals. His confidence was not great. I think a new challenge, a new identity, I think is exactly what he needs to improve his career. Connor Wickham has left Preston to join MK Dons. There's 3 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Connor Wickham not being able to survive more than 6 months in a club. Unfortunately, his limbs just cannot compete with the intensity, I think, anymore. So he's now joined MK Dons, and he'll be good for backup, but I don't expect him to play many game time, to be honest. One in its signing I'm really interested in is Cameron Archer. Now, Preston managed to snatch him up, and I think that's a really interesting signing, especially with how I consider Ryan Lowe's system to play, with how expansive his football is. Archer, I think, is an interesting one, and a lot of big echelon championship teams were interested in him, so the fact that Preston has snatched him up might be a really, really good signing for them. I think he can definitely be a starting player, so I hope to see him potentially even play tonight against West Brom, which I really, really hope. I want to see how he thrives in this intensity. Another signing is Cole Hine. He's joined Reading from Arsenal as their goalkeeper. Obviously, he's going to be the replacement for Raphael, isn't he? I don't expect him to play too much, but he'll be a good backup goalkeeper. And Davies has left Stoke to join Sheffield United. Of course, Sheffield United have lost Olsen very, very recently, previously to Roma, and then Aston Villa have now got him as their second choice. Now I see Adam Davies potentially being the second choice. I think Fotheringham might stay in goal at the moment, but for how well Davies has done at Stoke, maybe they should consider him making him number 1. You don't know. Dion Sanderson is another recent signing. Another thing you guarantee, you know, you get a loan move for Dion Sanderson to a championship club. And QPR are the team that have got him this time. And I think that's interesting. I think with the depth that they've got and the way they've been leaking a couple of goals as well, it's one thing I've been quite critical of is their defence. And I actually think that might be really, really good for their defensive line going forward. Whether he's going to start many games, I don't know, but he's got an abundance of experience, so it'll definitely help them. And finally, what was just announced literally 2 minutes ago, Harley Dean has joined Sheffield Wednesday from Birmingham. He was going to be in my rumours section because I did read up about it, but I just saw the news pop up on my phone that Harley Dean has joined Sheffield Wednesday. I think that is a great signing for Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, Harley Dean this season wasn't really hitting the same levels of consistency as he was at the start of the season, of last season at least. You know, he was the player last season that really dragged Birmingham out of being in the mud. But this season hasn't really been the same. Of course, Lee Boy has been a little bit more rotational in that back line. So I think a move to Sheffield Wednesday will definitely help him, but it'll most definitely help Sheffield Wednesday, who want to try and shore things up. They have been conceding quite a fair few goals recently, and I think someone experienced as Harley Dean, I think is the perfect signing for them. So that is all the confirmed transfers as of now. There could be more popping in as I'm editing because we're getting a lot of deals taking place now. But now we've got to talk about the latest rumours. The first rumour I want to talk about is really interesting. It's on Keiffer Moore, and I heard of this, you know, starting from yesterday actually. But Bournemouth have been linked with a lot of players, and Keiffer Moore is one of them. Now, obviously, his valuation has increased quite a bit. I remember when Cardiff gone for Wigan for £2 million. He scored that 20-goal season last year, and his valuation, especially after playing from the Euros, has risen up to £10 million. This season, he's only scored 5 goals, so you can understandably say that he's underperformed a little bit. He has had an injury problem or two as well, which I don't think has really helped his form and consistency. But if Bournemouth get him in, their striker options are absolutely a joke. So I think he'll be fantastic for Bournemouth. I don't necessarily think he's going to get as much game time as Dominic Solanke is, but for great backup, I think it'll definitely help Bournemouth, especially if we get promoted to the Premier League, to have 2 pretty capable strikers in their ranks. The second player that Bournemouth are linked with is Tom Lawrence. QPR are also linked with this guy. Now, this one's very interesting because you can understandably say that Tom Lawrence, I think, has got the highest wage out of all the players remaining in Derby. Derby have gone through a huge clear out. You know, you've got to look at David Marshall and then Graham Shinney being one, Sam Bulldog being others. And there could be a lot more leaving as well. Tom Lawrence, for me, has been their best player this season. He's been the reason why Derby have been able to claw back at their points quite a fair bit. But then this is an interesting decision because the administrators need as many points as they can. So they definitely don't want to let Lawrence go for free. But the dilemma is, of its wages, they're losing as much as well. So it's very, very difficult because if they get rid of him, obviously with the wages, it'll relieve their sources a little bit. But with how desperate the administrators and Derby County are for cash, he's got to be you know, left with a decent price. You know, we've already seen Graham Shinnie leave for £20,000. Tom Lawrence can't be left for that much, surely not. So this one's going to be very, very interesting to see, one, who gets him potentially, and two, what fee he'll leave for as well. And does it help Derby as they try and fight for existence in the Championship? The third rumour is on Brennan Johnson. He pops up a lot of the transfer show. He's probably been my most featured player in this show. Now, Nottingham Forest, I've been hearing potentially a second bid from Brentford to try and pay him, and we are hearing more reports that they're willing to pay his 20 million valuation. But the competition has just completely ramped up with Everton, West Ham, Newcastle and Spurs looking at this guy. So it's going to be absolutely crazy to see, one, if he leaves in January whatsoever. I personally don't think he will. I think it's too close near the end of the transfer window. One of these clubs could sign a pre-contract and get him in for next season potentially. But with Nottingham Forest in a position, they had a great win yesterday against Barnsley, and with them only being 2 points off the top 6, they're going to need all their star players to stick around if Nottingham Forest want to try and get into that top 6 in the end of the season. The next rumour to go on is Gavin Bazunu. Now, you might not have heard of him, but he's a goalkeeper. Manchester City formerly signed him from Shamrock Rovers, but he's had 2 seasons down in the EFL. Last year with Rochdale and this year with Portsmouth, where he's done pretty well. Portsmouth have improved their form a little bit, and he's been a really, really good performer in the back line for them. So I think he'll be a reliable signing if someone were to get him in. And Middlesbrough are the team who have been linked with him. I mean, would that make sense in terms of their signings at the moment? They've got pretty strong competition when it comes to that goalkeeper position with Lumley, and of course they've got Daniels too. But are they the best quality of keepers? Potentially not. So if we get someone like Bazunu in, maybe he could be one who can try and climb up the ranks, and I think he can definitely thrive in the Championship. So I'm interested to see if he does make this move. Nottingham Forest have offered a pre-contract to Ferdi Kadiloglu. So they're already thinking about the summer next year for Nottingham Forest. Now, Kadiloglu, they know they're not going to be able to afford to get him in this time in January. Now, this was a player that Derby wanted when they had Philip Cocu in charge, but ultimately he refused. Now, the situation with this at the moment, it sounds like Kadiloglu wants to play in the Premier League next year. Now, Forest, I'm not ruling them out with a chance of getting into the Premier League, but that's obviously the stumbling block so far with this pre-contract. It's the risk that Nottingham Forest might not be in the Premier League that's holding him back a little bit. If Forest do have a really, really good run, he can definitely want to play, but with his ambitions wanting to play in the Premier League, that could hold Forest back unless they do get actually promoted to the Premier League. So let's keep your eyes on this one, because it'll definitely annoy a lot of Derby fans if this move were to be confirmed. One of the biggest reports I've heard today is Keane Lewis Potter. Tottenham Hotspur are interested of signing this player. Obviously, I've previously talked about Hull having brand new ownership, and I think they definitely want to be increasing their budget, making some investment, and if there's a lot of interest on this player, it could be an offer that the ownership cannot refuse. So it just depends on what Spurs offer him. I definitely think he'll be a good player in the Premier League. I'm not necessarily saying he's going to reach the same levels as a lot of that Spurs squad, but if you're getting interest from Spurs and Antonio Conte, you know you've had a really good season. And for Hull this season, he's been a fantastic player. He really has been quite underrated. So I definitely hope for his sake that if he does want to move to the Premier League, that he gets it very, very soon. And whether it's Spurs or not, he'll be a fantastic opportunity for this young player. One signing that might be confirmed later today is Charlie Kirk to Blackpool. Apparently, Charlie Kirk is having a medical with Blackpool today. He's had a pretty tough season. Last season, you would know him from Crewe Alexandra, and he had a brilliant season with Crewe, as Crewe were around mid-table in League One. And obviously, Crewe this season have struggled a little bit because a lot of their players have left. Not only Charlie Kirk, but I'm also thinking of Ryan Wintle being another one as well, Pickering being another one. They've lost a lot of that squad. And Charlie Kirk has been one of those players which unfortunately have not really thrived in the new squad that he was put in, especially in a League One squad like Charlton. Charlton at one stage were really, really struggling with confidence. But a move like Blackpool, you know, is a really interesting challenge. I don't necessarily think he'll start many games, considering the position that he plays. He plays a little bit out wide, and I think the wide players are actually Blackpool's strongest areas. But if he's going to provide backup, he wouldn't be a bad shout for backup. So I think an interesting signing if this goes through. I think another reason why they've got him in is that I've not talked about this, but Dimitri Mitchell from Blackpool has recently left to join Hibernian. So I think he'll be a really good replacement. One other rumour is Andy Carroll. Now, what club is he going to sign for? He is open to sign for another club. At the moment, it doesn't quite look like Reading are going to be the club at the moment. But I have heard that West Brom, he's really interested in signing from. So he wouldn't mind signing for West Brom. Now, obviously, he's a free agent, so he's not going to cost too much. The only stumbling point could be wages. But apart from that, you know, any Championship player, if they need a rough and ready set-piece king in the box, Andy Carroll shows that. I mean, even at Reading, you saw what he can do, you know, despite the age that he is. So I really hope for Andy Carroll's sake he does get another club soon. You know, when he's not injured, he has got a really, really good amount of quality and potential with him. So I'm really interested to see if Andy Carroll will sign for another club. And finally, we're going to talk about Hull City, because obviously with new money, new budget, new owners, we are going to get interest. Now, there's not been too many reports that suggest that Hull are going to be splashing the cash yet. Potentially the summer transfer window they will. But one player I heard they were really interested in is DeAndre Yedlin. But they've suffered a setback for what I know, because Inter Miami are interested of getting this player in. Of course, DeAndre Yedlin is an American international. Formerly plays for Newcastle and Sunderland. I think is currently playing for Galatasaray, if I'm right in saying. So at the moment, I mean, if he were to join Hull, that would be a brilliant signing. You know, a lot of international experience, and you know, he's played in the Premier League for a lot of appearances as well. So definitely very good in quality and experience. But it looks like Inter Miami might edge to his favourites. But we'll keep an eye on this one, because I think it'll be a brilliant move for the Championship. But guys, that wraps up for my transfer show and the transfer rumours for today. If I've missed any rumours and confirmed transfers out, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be very interested to see what you guys are saying. If I have missed anyone, I'll talk about them in my next transfer show next week. But now I have to wrap it up today. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please give the video a like. It just tremendously helps the channel. Please do hit the red subscribe button if you've not done so. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. Let's try and get as soon as we can. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps. But now I wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching, guys. I'm Legendary for the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everyone.